First test of the firecracker fuse. Okay, let me just pause this video right here for a second. I just wanted to talk just for a second about how this all started. We started doing fireworks shows a few years ago in the backyard here at the farm. Started out real little, nothing much going on with them. And oh my goodness, I've kind of lost my mind. We had an unbelievable show this year. Our annual show was amazing, and it started off with this little fireworks fuse test that I wanted to do things differently this year. I wanted to light a fuse and be able to watch the show, and this little video today hopefully will show you how we accomplish that. Subscribe for me if you would, and like the video, and if you have any comments or questions or anything, don't be shy. Have a comment in the bottom and I'll definitely respond to it. Thanks. This from here to here is 6 inches, and each one of these is 2 inches burning slower. This is 2 inches. This is fast fuse. This is 30 seconds. These are like 25, so we'll see how they do here. My real test is to see if this fast fuse going by really quick will light these 3 on the way by. Let's see in how long. Holy smokes, the fast fuse is really fast. Wow is right. That was a little bit nuts. It was fun though. I was just trying to see if it would light those other fuses, and it sure did. That fast fuse was really quick though. This picture shows what I brought home from the fireworks store originally. And I learned how to buy much by this year than I have in the past, so I got significantly more fireworks, more bang for the buck this year. By buying in cases instead of, you don't buy individual fireworks or the 2-for-1 things. You're not really buying 2-for-1, it's something else. So I bought cases instead of individual fireworks, and I was able to turn these into quite a show. From there, I decided I was going to do things a little differently this year. I mounted all the fireworks, we call these cakes, on boards, and I used just regular wood glue, and I mounted these fireworks cakes on these boards just for security and just so I could keep track of what was where, and then I could fuse them all together. You could have them a lot closer together than when you just lay them on the out in the yard out there. So this was really nice. And if you notice on this particular picture, it shows a masking tape over some of the fusing. It ended up where all the fuse was covered in masking tape, and that was just to keep all the other fuse as it's burning or as the fireworks are going off, to keep those from igniting fuse when they shouldn't ignite out of order. That can cause your show to go haywire if they don't light right. Here's a second board, one of the other boards I was working on out in the garage. And I just worked on an intro board, and then I had what was originally going to be a main show board and then a finale board. Well, the main show board ended up being 3 different boards, and the finale board ended up being 2 different boards, just because they took up more room than I thought they would. Some of these firework cakes. The bigger ones you see here, the big flat ones, are 500 gram, they call them, and that's just the amount of gunpowder that's inside these cakes. And the big tubes, those are 500 gram also. The smaller little boxes that you see they're 200 gram cakes, and they still can be really cool and really nice. And as a matter of fact, you want some of those because they vary up the show, where you have some really big stuff going off, but you also want some smaller things going off lower to the ground to kind of fill up the sky. And then the other thing is you use different levels of fuse, as you saw in the video earlier. I use 30-second fuse. It burns 30 seconds per foot approximately, and then there's 15-second fuse, and then there's quick fuse, and there's various different speeds you can use, and you use those to determine, okay, when everything lights. These are mortar tubes. Each one of these tubes has a mortar inside of it, and you can see there's a green fuse. That's it's fairly slow fuse, but this pink fuse right on the end there, that's 15-second fuse. So it's going to burn in 15 seconds per foot. It's going to burn through, and all 6 of those are fused together. So all 6 of those are going to go off in about 15 seconds. And there's another bank of 6 next to that, and I'll show you how I use those as we go a little further forward in this. But then we went over to, you got into the big motor racks. These are covered in aluminum foil, once again for the same reason. I wanted to cover all the fusing so they wouldn't go off before they were supposed to go off. That was the idea. And you can see I have them numbered, so I knew where they were supposed to go. And this is a fast fuse. There was a, number 4 is a fast fuse. Number 3 was a fast fuse. And the in and out label on there is just where the fuse is going in and where the fuse is going out. You just got to think of all that stuff. Each one of these was around 70 shots, I believe. Each one of these aluminum foil covered crates that I used. Those worked out really nice. I'll be using those again next year. You can get those mortars a little cheaper than you can the whole, the big cake sometimes. Then we loaded everything. We got everything pretty much ready to go on the day of the show on the 4th, and we loaded everything up on the. I was given hay rides that day, and for weeks I was given hay rides. We had lots of visitors out to the farm, and so we just loaded everything up on the hay ride wagon, and we rolled it out to where we were going to set everything up. Just a lot easier than having to carry all these boards all the way out there. These boards with all the fireworks cakes on them, they got kind of heavy, some of them. Matter of fact, next year, one lesson learned was I'm going to cut the boards down to a little bit more manageable size. Probably 4 feet by 2 feet is what I'm going to use next year. Just easier to handle and move around. But you can see we've got this all sitting on the wagon there, and all these boards just kind of sitting together. Each board is individually strung together with various fuse, fast fuse or slow fuse, based on when I wanted things to go off. Some stuff I wanted to go off at the same time as others, and so I use fast fuse in between. So it would just burn very fast between the boxes, and so they would light off virtually at the same time. Other things, I wanted a gap. So if the box was supposed to go for 30 seconds, well, I wanted a foot of fuse before the next box, so it would burn for 30 seconds, and then it would light the next one right when the first one was burning out. That's the idea, is to have as little black sky as you can. You're always going to have some, and as a matter of fact, it's a little bit desirable to have a break now and then, just so people that are watching can kind of catch their breath. For what they're looking at. Here you can see Carl and Nelia there on the day of lighting everything off. Carl's doing an important thing that we learned that really did work well. Peeling off all the top paper off of these cakes. If you just cut the paper and peel it off, it makes the cleanup later much easier. You get much less confetti from all the paper that's located on the top of these boxes if you take that off ahead of time. So Carl got to doing that, which really helped with cleanup this year amazingly. We had the biggest show we've ever had, and the cleanup was easier than any other show we've ever had that was much smaller. This next picture shows pretty much the whole setup. You're looking at the front towards the bottom of the screen here is where the show started, and we'll get a better picture of that here in a minute. And the fuse winds its way through all of these boxes and then works its way back as you go all the way back to the back. And as I'm looking at this, I realize you can't see the whole show from here. I think we had a total of 73 of the boxes, little, big, different sizes, that we fired off that day. And like I said, I was able to just light one fuse, and the whole thing went off over 28 minutes, 27 and so many seconds. It really worked out well. I just was so happy how it all came out. The next picture you're going to see is maybe a little bit better picture here. Let me take a look at this. Okay, yeah, this is once again at the front, but I wanted to show this because of the fusing. Once again, you can see all that fuse is covered in masking tape, and it kind of winds its way through. Once it lights something, it doesn't matter if it goes over it or whatever, because it's going to start going off, but the fuse is already burning on its way. And most of this is fairly quick fuse, I think, through here. And the fuse is color coded, so you know how fast the fuse is based on what color the fuse is. And most of this is slower fuse because this is the beginning of the show, and I kind of wanted this board to last. This was the intro. I wanted it to last probably 5 minutes of just intro time, one at a time. And initially, those first 3 boxes, the bigger boxes, all went off at the same time to be like a intro blast. You know, wow, it's like almost a finale starter. But then it went 1 box at a time for the rest of this board. And I did that because I wanted to just stretch it out a little bit and just slow things down a minute and give people a chance to look at what they're looking at each of the fireworks. This one begins to show this is the right half of the finale. Same thing, we took all the tops off of those cases, those 2 big flat one with, they have 260 shots, I think, on them. Those, you take all the paper off and it just helps with cleanup tremendously. The big, what we call the 3-inch mortar tube rack, there's nine shots in those. Those are really, really big, almost commercial level size fireworks. The mortars are pretty close to in the racks over there on the right, underneath the aluminum foil. Those are pretty big also, but those big 9-inchers or 3-inchers, 9 shots, those are nice. I use those in the finales mostly. Fireworks show. Let's see, this is 2023 for my father's farm. I'm just gonna go over some things. We did a hay berm here just in case anything falls over, catches the hay on fire, doesn't catch the people on fire. Fire extinguishers, water. We got another fire extinguisher over there. Come over here. We got our initial lighting fuse is right here. So that's got about 1.5 feet or so, and this is 30 seconds per foot, so it's about 45 seconds of burn before it hits the first thing, which is a kind of a small thing, so we don't have to worry about it. And then it goes through from there. It basically winds around through all these different cakes. I have a mixture in this first part. I have an intro board that is a mix of 200-gram cakes and 500-gram cakes, and quite a few little 200 grams right here, a couple 500 grams to start with. Then it comes over, hooks up to another 500-gram couple right here to start the main show. And I have main show board number 1, multiple 500-gram cakes. I've got multiple also 200-gram kind of mixed in. So the idea is to have some big stuff, some not so big stuff, and pretty good pace, not too many gaps. Hopefully, we'll see. Then I go into some mortar tubes. I have 12 of them fused up here to basically lead into main show board number 2. Once again, that gets into some zipper cakes. These are mostly 500 grams. Over a few 200-gram smaller cakes over there. A lot of zippers in this particular board. We come over to main show number 3, which is this little board. That's got some big stuff. And then we get into the finale, which Cole is working on the final fusing right now. Cole and Carl and Nelia and everybody were working on it. So this is this starts out with a fountain, zipper cake, another zipper cake, a 9-shot 3-incher. I've got 60 or 70 mortar tubes, fairly slow pace, right into some more golden willow, which is those big willows, into another zipper cake, into another 3-inch artillery, into a couple of fan cakes where it really fans out, and then it goes over to another one of these 70 mortar rounds, but those are fused to go really, really fast. This is part of the finale, so all this is going to go pretty fast, hopefully. And then the last one is this big giant 3-incher, and then I've got 1,000 firecrackers that are going to be mixed in actually at the beginning of this finale. Hopefully we're going to record it and you'll see it on the video soon. snippet here of the aftermath of what we shot off the other night. Got a little hay berm here we used as kind of a protection thing. We managed to shoot these off, 73 cakes I think it was, of fireworks. Just huge stuff, little stuff. I had it all fused together to be able to light one fuse, and theoretically the idea was that every single one of these would light in a certain order, and I had no expectation, really, to be honest, that that was actually going to happen perfectly, but in fact it did. Every single firework in this mess lit off right when it was supposed to, right on time, and no fuses got interrupted or cut, or just, I thought sure somewhere along the line we would have to relight the chain to get things going, but we didn't. We ended up lighting one fuse. I had a 45-second fuse at the beginning. I lit that. I walked way back over to where everybody was sitting. I sat down and I proceeded to watch the show, which I've never been able to do before. And the show lasted for, I think, 28 minutes, which was longer than I expected. And it was fantastic. Now for the cleanup, and that's going to be real easy too, because if you notice, all of these are on boards. They're all glued down. So we just pick up the boards, we run them over to the burn pile, peel them off the boards and throw them into the burn pile. I put my boards in the barn, ready for next year. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.